Reflect in English podcast.
Welcome to our podcast. Today, we're diving into something I think, pretty much everyone runs into, right? How to handle those times when someone just kind of takes over, makes you feel small or like you weren't even heard.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there. You're trying to be nice, agreeable.
Keep the peace.
Exactly. But sometimes that just doesn't land right, does it? It almost invites the opposite reaction.
Totally. And sometimes, being kind can lead to others just stepping on your ideas.
Yeah.
Or making you feel like your thoughts don't really matter much.
It's super common. And if it keeps happening over time, it can seriously make you doubt yourself.
Right. Like you try to keep things friendly, make others happy.
The path of least resistance.
Yeah. But then some people just push. Maybe they make you feel like you don't have any good ideas or no value even.
And the scary part is you might start to believe it a little yourself.
Oof, yeah.
So our deep dive today is really about that. What do you do when you face someone like that? We're going to explore some smart ways to deal with these situations, help you stand strong and, feel good about yourself again.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more. This whole being nice thing. I mean, many of us grow up wanting to be seen as warm, as kind. It's how we're taught to be,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. You handle problems softly, hope everyone ends up happy, avoid conflict.
But the big question is, what happens when? It just doesn't work. When that kindness isn't reciprocated.
Yeah, what's fascinating and kind of frustrating is that even with the absolute best intentions, some people will just keep putting you down. They might make you feel like you don't have strong ideas, or maybe that you're just not that important in the grand scheme of things.
It's subtle sometimes too.
Oh, very subtle, like microaggressions almost. And slowly you might actually start thinking, maybe I'm just not good at this stuff.
Yeah. It's like this quiet pressure that just builds and builds. You're trying to be gentle, but they just push harder. So, okay, what can we do when being nice isn't cutting it? Right? This is where it gets really practical, I think. Our first idea, it's about holding your bottom line.
Holding your bottom line. I like that phrase.
Yeah. It just means knowing what you will and maybe more importantly, what you won't accept. And then, sticking to it, standing firm.
It's crucial because, look, everyone in life, at work, with friends, you're going to meet strong personalities. And strong here doesn't necessarily mean good strong. It could be a friend, a coworker, maybe even a boss.
Yeah.
Who maybe always finds tiny faults or blames you for stuff or just generally makes you feel, less important.
And the more they do that, the more critical it is to have that personal bottom line.
Absolutely.
So if you don't want something, if it crosses that line, just say no directly.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. You don't actually need a reason.
That's hard though.
It is. It really is. Which raises a really important question. Why is saying no so difficult for so many adults?
Yeah, why? We feel bad, right? Like we're letting them down.
We do. We feel guilty. But honestly, saying no doesn't need an excuse or a justification. You just have the right to say no. Full stop. And maybe not being able to say no when you need to, that can show that you maybe don't feel you have good control over your own choices, your own agency.
It's funny. It's almost like teenagers sometimes.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, before they learn all the complicated grown-up rules about politeness and obligation, they can be better at this.
That's actually a great point. They see things very clearly sometimes. No, I don't want to. Simple.
Right. So if you meet one of these dominant types, the advice here is don't default to acting weak or just doing what they say out of habit.
Resist that urge.
Yeah. Learn to respond strongly, firmly, right away. Show them with your actions, hey, I have boundaries here.
You teach people how to treat you.
Okay, this next one is pretty cool. Method 2 is called the Quenching Effect.
The quenching effect. Sounds intense.
It does. It actually comes from making metal stronger, like blacksmithing and stuff.
Okay. Metallurgy. Fascinating.
Yeah.
So how does that apply to people?
Well, the physical process itself is interesting, right? You heat metal up really, really hot.
Super hot.
And then you plunge it into cold water or oil, cool it down really fast.
Right.
And that sudden change, that shock, it doesn't make the metal brittle. It actually makes it much harder, stronger, more resilient.
Okay. I see where this might be going.
Yeah.
So when we use this idea in daily life, dealing with difficult people, it means using cold treatment.
Exactly. Think about it. You've got this strong, dominant person talking a lot, maybe trying to push your buttons, demanding things.
Filling the space.
Right. The insight here is you don't actually have to jump in and respond right away.
You don't.
Nope. Because arguing with them or fighting back in that moment, it just wastes your energy. It's usually pointless.
You're just feeding the fire, maybe. Totally. You're giving them the reaction they probably want, and you're draining yourself for no good reason.
So what does cold treatment look like then? Are you just giving them the silent treatment? That feels kind of passive-aggressive sometimes.
It can, but it doesn't have to be aggressive or passive-aggressive. It's more about strategic disengagement.
Yeah.
You could just space out a little, let your mind wander, think about something else. Basically, just ignore them. Don't give their words the weight they expect.
Okay, like mentally check out.
Yeah, or physically remove yourself if possible. You're removing their audience, taking away the heat they're trying to generate.
I actually have an example of this, thinking back to school.
Oh, yeah. Do tell.
Well, there were these kids. You know how kids can be.
Yeah.
They'd make fun of me. Said it was short, dark, not good looking, wore glasses, the usual stuff.
Ugh, kids can be brutal.
They really can.
Right.
And what I sort of stumbled into doing was basically this cold treatment.
Without knowing the term.
Right. They'd say their stuff, try to get a reaction, and I just wouldn't give it to them. I'd just keep playing or reading or whatever I was doing. Like they weren't even there.
And what happened?
Well, after a bit, they got annoyed. They weren't getting the rise out of me they wanted, so they just stopped.
Wow.
Like,
See? It works if you just ignore them, treat them like they're not really affecting you. You can actually take the wind right out of a strong person's sails. You starve them of the reaction they need.
Okay, but there's a balance here, right? It can't always be about ignoring things.
Yes. Very important point. A key nuance. While that cold treatment is super effective for, say, pointless provocations or someone just trying to dominate airspace, it's not for everything.
Right.
For things that are really important, like your core principles, your values, maybe your safety, or things that directly impact your right.
Your actual work responsibility.
Exactly. For those things, you absolutely must respond. And respond strongly and right away. No ignoring that stuff. And you might even need to say it more than once. Be really clear, really firm, so the other person gets it. You are serious about this boundary.
Okay, so stand firm on the big stuff. But here's the trick, right? How you do it.
Precisely. When you do step up on those important things, don't get angry.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. But try not to let anger drive it. Don't raise your voice. Don't let emotion take over the message. Instead, speak calmly. State your point clearly, quietly even, but with total conviction.
Calm seems counterintuitive when you need to be strong.
It does, but think about it. If we connect this to the bigger picture, speaking calmly actually gives you more power in that moment.
How so?
Because it shows you're in control, not just reacting emotionally, but responding thoughtfully. When you're calm and your point is firm, you seem much stronger, much more grounded. It's unnerving for someone expecting a fight.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Like, maybe a coworker is always telling you how to do your job, but it's not their place.
Perfect example. That crosses the boundary, right? It affects your work.
Yeah. So instead of yelling, stop telling me what to do.
Right. You could stand up, look them in the eye, and say calmly, but very clearly, this is my work, not yours. Please don't tell me what to do. You don't have that right.
Ooh, direct. Calm, but direct.
Exactly. No anger, just facts and the boundary.
Or you could even add, maybe, still calmly,
Go on.
if you keep telling me what to do, I'm going to go to our boss and ask them to just give you all my work, since you seem so interested in telling people how to do it.
Yes. A bit cheeky, but still calm. It makes the point powerfully. It shows you're not intimidated and you're prepared to escalate if needed, but you're doing it from a place of control, not anger. That calm delivery. That's real power.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up, bring together. If you meet someone who's constantly trying to be dominant, pushy, the main thing is, don't just shrink back or give in automatically.
Right. Don't default to that weak position. Recognize you have choices.
Instead, learn to use this quenching effect.
Yeah. Handle things calmly. Sometimes that means the cold treatment, just disengaging, not giving them the reaction fuel.
And when you do need to speak up, especially on important stuff,
Speak calmly, but firmly, clearly.
because doing that helps the other person see, oh, wait, this person is also strong. They have boundaries. They respect themselves.
And usually when they see that quiet strength, that clear line, they'll likely back down. Their usual tactics just won't work on you.
It's about being firm, but not angry, showing you respect yourself and your space.
Exactly. You're essentially teaching them how you expect to be treated. Not aggressively, but clearly.
So for everyone listening, what does this mean? Like, tomorrow, at work,
Yeah.
with family.
Well, next time you feel that push, someone trying to roll over you or dismiss you, pause for a second.
Take a breath.
Yeah. Think, can I use a bit of cold treatment here? Or do I need to state my boundary? And if so, how can I do it calmly but firmly?
Start small, maybe?
Definitely. Practice in lower stakes situations first. A casual chat, a minor disagreement. Yeah. Build that muscle.
Okay, so that leaves us with a final thought, maybe something for you to chew on.
Yeah, a question to take away. How can you start practicing these ideas? Spotting those small daily moments where you could hold your ground a little more, or use that calm firmness, or just not engage. How can you use those little moments to build up your strength and your confidence step by step?
We really hope this deep dive helps you feel a bit more equipped, more ready to stand strong in your own skin. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.